Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am loving life freely here on YouTube, and I am a full-time reseller on eBay, Poshmark, Mercari. Also do kids whatnot, or sorry, whatnot. I haven't done whatnot. Kids Poshmark clothes lives that we do Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. I would love to say welcome to you. If you are new to my channel, I am thrilled that you stopped by. This is such a fun video for us to do each week. This is our weekly reseller chat. If you are also new to the reselling community, welcome to the reselling community. I've got some fun topics and I'm excited to share them with you, so stay tuned. Okay, guys, again, like I said, if you are new to the reselling community, I would love to say welcome to you. As I've been doing my lives the last couple of weeks, I've actually met quite a few people who were either Poshmark, had Poshmark accounts and just recently started reselling themselves, or are literally brand new to reselling in the industry in the last month or two, sometimes a couple of weeks. So there's a lot of new people climbing on board with reselling. If that is you, again, welcome to the community. We love having you here. This is the, sorry, my nose is itching. This is a video each week that we put out where we talk literally all kinds of things reselling, anywhere from emotions to sourcing to shipping to platforms to you name it, we talk about it. And so I'm excited about just some simple things to talk about this week. It's not going to be like heavy or anything like that. But I do want to talk about how it is a great time to be a reseller right now, guys. In society right now, there are so many people, especially as we've talked many times in the past about the fact that the economy is affecting a lot of things, including people's ability to purchase. And I'll have to be honest with you, even shopping in thrift stores. A lot of people do shop in thrift stores because it's cheaper for them. But people have a hard time finding good stuff in the thrift stores sometimes too. As resellers know, it's hard finding good quality in thrift stores. And I think that is another reason why some people actually honestly revert to purchasing on platforms through resellers, even though it's higher in price compared to thrift stores, because we've gone through all the time to go out and source the good items for them to buy instead of them having to go look for those good items to buy. Now, I don't know if that's an actual fact, but that is something that has crossed my mind, that people do go to the thrift store and look for items. But I've actually watched as I've gone sourcing in thrift stores. Some people scan through a lot of stuff like resellers do, because they're just trying to find something that's of good quality, because there is a lot of stuff going into the thrift stores that is not good quality. It's just really used, beat up, stained, and all that good stuff. And us resellers, when we do find pieces that are worth listing and reselling, all they have to do is go into our platforms, even a few extra dollars for them compared to the stores, on top of their cleaning and all that. Sometimes people would just rather go online and be able to find a used piece through us as resellers. So I do think that is an aspect to it as well. A lot of people also just don't have time to go to thrift stores and go looking for things for their kids or for themselves or whatever. So whatever the reason may be that they're looking in our direction for things, and on top of the fact that they can also find new tags items that are at a really great price, and just a great quality from us. So if you're a reseller, this is a great place to be. Reselling is growing. It's growing a lot, and it's also changing a lot. Even the last 6 months, reselling has changed. In the last year and a half, reselling has flipped. The way we source for some of us, and how we price things, a lot of items have changed in how we've priced things. Right now, we're going through a slow season. It has been topic of conversation for a couple weeks now, because I kind of joked a few weeks ago that I didn't think there would really be a summer slowdown, because people are always on their phones and buying stuff. I stand corrected. I do believe that people are on their phones a lot, but I also think that people are trying, I think this summer, to really kind of take time for their families, because it's been noted more to people to take time for their families, go on their vacations. And this is the time of year when a lot of people do that. And so everybody, including people on lives, people on different platforms, people on YouTube, people on Instagram, everybody is talking about how we are definitely in a summer slow season. Gosh, if you're ever in my lives with me, you see how I just fuddle with words. It's just hilarious. I just crack myself up. We are definitely in a slow season. So I do stand corrected. There is definitely a slow season. I said that weeks ago because last summer, definitely noticed a slowdown, but not like this year. I don't know about y'all, but I'm definitely noticing a difference. Not just me, but other people in the summer slowdown has hit harder this year than it did last year, I think. And obviously, I do think the economy has something to do with that as well. Maybe people are taking, seriously spending more time with their families and taking their vacations, which, like we've always said, they should. As resellers, we should take time for vacations and take time for our families. So, but along comes with that, as resellers, even though we know it's that time of the year, that doesn't make watching slow sales easier. We all know that after the first of the year, it usually takes a month or two once people get past the first of the year, the holiday crunch, trying to recover from paying for all the holiday stuff, the gifts, the food, the activities with families. It always takes a couple months at the beginning of the year for things to pick back up. And it's the same thing in the summertime. Although, like I just said, I do think that this year is hit even harder than last summer. Because I remember people, it's been better for me since last summer. Well, actually, I can't say that. Because I was looking at my numbers last summer, I was kind of curious. Because last summer, I had only been full-time for about 6 months. And my numbers actually last summer were a little bit better than they have been this June. So I can't say that. I can't say that last year was worse for me because last year wasn't. Last year in June, we were actually growing quite a bit from where we had been in the spring. So we had gone through a big, huge growth spurt and went through that into the winter season and through the first of the year. And now we are just going through a lot more transition again. And had done one of our best months in the springtime. I don't know if y'all watched that Sold But Sold video. If you haven't, do feel free to go back and watch it. Our couple made their best month yet in reselling. That was amazing. And after that month, we were like, okay, we're going to summer. We have a plan of action of how we're going to really climb up and climb up and climb up. And we are climbing up as far as what we're listing, but we have definitely hit that summer slump. And like I said, along with that, as resellers, even though we know that this is normal, it takes its toll emotionally, physically, and mentally. Because even though we know that this is supposed to be here, that this is part of reselling, that doesn't mean watching slow sales is easy on us emotionally, mentally, physically. It does take a toll because when you see slow sales, your brain is obviously thinking there's no ka-ching happening, which means there's not a lot of money being made, even though hopefully we've accommodated for that slow part in our businesses, right? So it's tough mentally, and I have to admit, I've actually been handling it pretty good until today. I woke up in a really massive slump today. I'm going to be really honest with you. I'm going to be really raw with you. I woke up and I've been really struggling today. I did get all my photos done like I do in the morning. I got my shipping done. I was ready to get things going, and I was just really pushing through my low energy because it's just been like a big, huge funk, where you're just like, you got stuff to do, and you're just trying to find deep down inside of you that burst of energy to get up and make it happen, right? And it wasn't there. It really just wasn't there. I think another factor for me, though, is I've had a couple of kids. My daughter, my son-in-law had birthdays this last week, and I wasn't able to be around my daughter for her birthday. She lives in a different state, and she was talking to me about how she really wished she'd be around family. I've been really missing my daughter who lives in Washington, still where we came from. So that's been a heart tug for me lately is next month it'll be a year since we've seen our kids that live in those different states. That's been hard. It's been really hard not being around my family, my kids, for my husband and I. We do have 2 kids that are local here. and you know, 3 grandkids, but our kids who are at a distance, it's tough not being around them. It's tough not being around the grandkids that are not local. And some days are just harder for me than others. So on top of the slow sales, trying to mentally think, how can I make things better, like we've been talking about, to help encourage sales during that time. And sometimes you just have those days where you're like, I know I need to get this done, but I don't want to. There's just no vibe. There's no energy. There's no, let's get this going. Talking to you is kind of helping me walk through this, because honestly, for the last 6 hours downstairs while I've been working, I've just been doing everything I can to just keep moving along, you know? And I know, I'm sure I'm not the only one. If you've been having kind of those days where you're just kind of in a funk and you're just like, oh my goodness, how am I going to get out of this slump? You know, I'm trying to be careful with how I say the word funk, because I know it can sound off sometimes in the video if you don't say the word right. So I apologize if it's been sounding weird. In a slump, let's say slump. Okay, if you've been in a slump, the emotional drain, the emotional energy, the lack of energy, the lack of motivation, because even if you are making sales, or some days you have great sales and then you go several days without great sales, it takes its toll, even though we know that this is expected. So we have been having sales. I will tell you, we've been having some sales. My live sales have definitely been slow. The last 2 weeks has been slow. There were a couple shows where I didn't really hardly sell anything. One, I didn't sell anything at all. And then there's been shows where I'll sell a handful of pieces, but compared to me selling like 15 plus pieces a show, sometimes 20, 25 pieces a show. So yeah, that compared to like 3 or 4 or 5 pieces. And then obviously sales on the platform. I have been making sales, just not as much as I had wanted to. So I'm trying to work through that, on top of missing my kids and just all that goes with that, and different things, my different decisions you're making in life in general, right? With your husband, your family, and sorting all that out. Just stuff. I know I'm taking 12 minutes to explain all this, but sometimes it just takes time to just work through this, right? This and this. It takes time to work through all that. And even if we aren't in a slow season in reselling, slow sales, sometimes this and this can get in the way no matter what time of the year it is, honestly. Sometimes we just have rough emotional days because there's stuff going on in life that's not reselling that affects our motivation and wanting to do stuff. Whether you work a business like this or work a job, it affects you if you have a job. If you're just having stuff going on in life, then you go to work, you know how you just kind of sit there in a slump, even though you have to keep working, or your boss could say, hey, what's going on, right? So let's talk about this. Staying consistent during this slump. Now we are nearing the end of June. This weekend will be the end of June. I'm happy and I'm sad. And the reason why is I'm happy because, and I told my husband this the other day, I'm happy because I want June to be over, to hopefully not have too much of a slump in July. I'm so sorry. I just got this weird tickle in my throat. I apologize. Okay. And it's still there. It's like trying to twinge up. All right. Sorry. I'm so glad you guys understand. So what was I saying? I was talking about, consistency. Oh, yeah. So the end of June, July. We don't know how long this slump is going to go, okay? I'm hoping it won't be much longer because maybe another week or two. Because people are on vacation and then people have to start coming back from vacation by the end of July to start getting ready for things in August for a lot of people starting the sports and prep for the school year. So I'm hoping maybe hopefully no more than 2 to 3 weeks, maybe 4, and slow time. I want that to be done so we have better sales, but at the same time, y'all, I don't want summer to be over. I love the summertime. Even though it's been hot for a lot of people, we've had crazy storms and all that going on. I love this time of year because people are out, they're having fun with their families, they're enjoying the weather, they're on vacation making memories, they're out building gardens, traveling, seeing people, doing things. This is the time of year where people kind of come alive before the holidays. And I love this time of year. I love sitting on my patio in the morning and at night with the fresh air and the cool evening. You can't do that during winter seasons, okay? Not around here anyway. So I'm loving the flowers, the blooms, the birds, the noises. I love all of it. And I don't want it to end too soon. I know that once we are really past the slump and people are starting to prepare for the school year, that means the summer will be over. So I'm excited for it to be done, but at the same time, I don't want this amazing season to end too soon. So let's talk about being consistent. We all know that we need to be listing consistently, and I do believe that consistency in listing is an important factor in reselling. We've all talked about this a few times on these weekly reseller chats. Consistency is important. The different platforms, honestly, when you're listing, each platform is different. There are times on Poshmark you can miss a few days. I do think that that's possible on Poshmark. I do think that it will affect your sales, but I think it takes longer for it to affect sales on Poshmark than it does on eBay. eBay is definitely one of those where you want to be consistent in your listings for the algorithm. It's a little bit different than Poshmark. However, there's two reasons why we want to be consistent in our listings. One, for our consistency in business. There are things on a daily basis that we need to be consistent with in our reselling business, and one is listing, okay? I list 6 days a week. I do take Sundays off, and I'm still, like I mentioned last week, still working on how to have the drafts in eBay go live and still be able to take those things on Monday that went live and transpose them onto Poshmark. I haven't taken the time to actually factor that in. And this last Sunday, honestly, I was so exhausted, I didn't actually even have any listing drafts scheduled to go live. So Sunday, I didn't have anything go up. But I list consistently no less than 10 items a day, Monday through Saturday on eBay. And then I cross-post those onto Poshmark and typically Mercari. So I'm averaging about 50 to 70 listings a week, averaging. Now that's low for me compared to what I used to do. Before I was doing lives, I was averaging about 15 to 20 listings a day before I started doing lives. And that has since slimmed back and cut back because I can't do all that and do lives and YouTube. And at the time, my husband was also working a job. He's now helping with the listings because he is also listing hard goods since we've been sourcing. But it's so important to be listing every day. And I know some people can't because of jobs and family. I do know that that is a factor. I've had people comment on the videos about how working full-time, having their young kids, or maybe they're home full-time with their kids and it's hard to get distracted and do their listings. I've even seen people on YouTube who have full-time kids and they actually hire somebody. Once they take the photos, they hire somebody to do the listings for them. They pay that out. Or they hire somebody to do the photos and then they do the listings when their kids are sleeping. However it works for you. There's a lot of people who are doing this part-time, full-time with kids. And I'll tell you, those of you who are doing this, I seriously commend you. I know how busy I am doing what I do without having raising kids factor on top of it all too. So I say kudos to those of you who are doing this, whether full-time or part-time, while raising kids. So consistency, staying consistent, and the other thing is the algorithm. So there are two factors. Just being consistent in our daily routines and also keeping the algorithm up. I think it's really, really important. It's easy for us to want to just let it slide. Well, it's slow sales, so I'm just going to kind of let it slide because I don't feel like it because it's affecting the whole melancholy mood that we're in, right? Like I've been in today. But still listing is so very important because once the slow part is over, those listings that we're adding in do help keep the algorithm going and keeping what sales are going to happen happening. Plus, it will help continue to move us forward into the very fast season that's coming up. And we all know that once school starts back up, we go through the whole buying school kids clothes. We're going to be kicking over into the holidays. You got Halloween, Thanksgiving, and then Christmas. We've got several months there where it's going to be boom, 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 and it's just going to be fast paced, right? So we want to make sure we keep things consistently flowing because of that season that is literally just around the corner. So I would really encourage you, if you are dealing with the melancholy like I am, the slump like I am once in a while. Some days, again, like I said, today's been just rough. Me even just kind of talking to you about it has been kind of helping build up my energy a little bit. I've already gotten a lot of listings done today because my husband did quite a few hard good listings, so that helped my numbers today. But I do still want to put a few more up, but I wanted to come up and get this video going for y'all today to get it out tomorrow. I didn't want to be late on this video just because for my consistency, and also because I want to make sure you guys do get it on Wednesdays. Unless I'm sick or something, I do want to make sure I get it for you on Wednesdays consistently. Okay, the next part of the topic. This is something I want to ask y'all. Do comment for me in the comments below. eBay research for local finds. There's a video that I was watching a few weeks ago that I watched that I just kind of shrugged under the carpet because I was like, well, this doesn't really relate to me, because I can't find these types of brands locally. I've kind of shared that with you guys a little bit. So then she put out another video today where she talked about that factor and how people talk about that. But then she talked about how you may actually have those items locally and you're just not realizing it, or could be other great brands you don't know about that sell for higher prices locally that you aren't aware of because you're not doing the research to find them. So I watched that video and I'm like, I watched it today, and she had some really great factor points to it. So I actually did some research myself, and this also could relate to hard goods, it could relate to shoes, anything that you resell, this could apply to. Now, to do that video would take a little bit longer than what I want to extend this video out to. So if you're interested in me doing a video on more detailed research on eBay that you can do when you go sourcing to find items that are priced, they can be sold at like $35 or more, no matter what the type of item is, let me know in the comments below. I'm probably going to put the video up anyway because honestly, I've learned a lot of really great things from watching this information, and I want to share it with you guys. Anytime I learn something from another reseller on YouTube or through other chat systems, through YouTube videos or anything like that, and it's a benefit to me, I want to pass it on to you guys so that you guys can benefit from it also. Because not everybody watches the same videos, not everybody follows the same people, not everybody sources the same places. We all know this. So I want to share this with you. So let me know in the comments below if you're excited about that video. Let me know if you'd like to hear it. Again, it's how to details research items that are selling for $35 or more locally in your area through your thrift stores. Okay, so let me know. Okay, there's two other topics I wanted to discuss. One is bad inventory, and I know we've kind of talked about this a little bit. I still have some inventory back here behind this wall in my other room. I have a lot of inventory back there. I would say probably several hundred pieces of inventory. Some of I have slushed out through the ThreadUp boxes, through the brands. You know, you send it in. They send you a gift card to shop through another store. I've done a few of those boxes, but I don't want to do any more of those because I don't want to have to buy specific brands to get that money back. I want to actually just get the money back or use it to buy other product. So after watching another video yesterday, it turns out ThreadUp might actually, depending on what tier you're at in ThreadUp, if you bought a lot of boxes through ThreadUp and you're at a certain tier as a customer buying the boxes through ThreadUp, you have sometimes access to send in kits where they sell your stuff, and then you get points to be able to actually put towards other boxes or other items in their store, instead of doing the kits where you buy like through Athleta or something like that. I think my tier is accessible where I could send a kit in, and I just did some information yesterday to do a label. So I'm going to try that because another gal who has a high tier in ThreadUp, because she's done so many boxes, said that she has now been given access to send a box in again. She hadn't been for over a year because they just weren't allowing it. So I decided to check my tier, and I think that that's what the label's for. So I'm going to send those in. I have so much inventory back here, guys, from when you first started out as a reseller, you buy items thinking that they're good pieces. When you're still learning things and figuring things out, we all go through it. Like I said, we've mentioned this many, many times in these reseller chats. I still have quite a few pieces of inventory back here, and not just women's, but men's pieces that don't sell very well. Fortunately, with my men's pieces, I can't send those into ThreadUp because ThreadUp doesn't sell men's. They dish it out through their boxes, but they don't take it in for their site. So I'm having to find another way, and these pieces aren't pieces that I think Buy Sell Trade will take because they're like the cheaper brands. Tell me in the comments below if you have an idea of how I can literally source out men's pieces that aren't selling well for me in my area. And they're honestly brands that aren't bad brands, just some of them may be smaller sizing, or maybe I just need to relist and delist them again. But tell me in the comments below for men's pieces, how you got rid of old inventory. If you started as a seller, you had men's pieces that maybe weren't doing well. I also have women's pieces that are back there that aren't doing well because at the time they just weren't doing well. It was the type of pieces that I picked up, or brands that came in boxes that I couldn't sell. So tell me in the comments below what you guys think of that, if you have any ideas for that. The other thing is sizing. Now, I mentioned this, I don't remember where, I was putting some information together for somebody who's doing some sourcing for me. And she asked me, she asked me about sourcing, in sizing. How many of y'all have a hard time selling, not sourcing, but selling extra smalls, and mediums in women's? Obviously men's too, but in women's, because not everybody sells men's. A lot of people focus on women's clothes. How many of y'all have a hard time selling extra small and small? Mediums aren't as bad. But I am finding now that I've been doing this for a little while, kind of have a history, I'm definitely finding mediums still kind of sell depending on the brand, but larges and over sell better for me, no matter what brand. And then mediums do sell, again, depending on what the item is. But smalls and extra smalls do not move for me hardly at all. It has to be a specific thing, or maybe somebody specifically looking for that. My thing is, I have felt in the past, we should source all sizes because all size people are looking for their size to buy, right? I mean, girls who are small and extra small are looking for clothes to buy, just like people who are medium, large, extra large, and plus size. The thing is do they look for them as much as people who are large and plus size? Or do they not look because people aren't providing the size? That's my question. Are sizes small and extra small not selling as well because people gave up on trying to look for the size because people weren't selling it? Or do they just not really sell very well because people just weren't really looking for the sizes very much anyway? Tell me in the comments below what you think. I'm having a hard time moving smalls and extra smalls. Athletic wear too. I really thought my ThreadUp athletic wear boxes that were smalls and extra smalls would sell better. Now I have sold some pieces, but I'll be honest with you, a lot of it's just sitting there. And I even tried doing a live. People are looking for bigger sizing, which really kind of surprised me. I thought even on a live, if I had extra small and small, that those would sell okay that way as well. But they didn't. So I've been focusing more. I have really curtailed how I'm sourcing. Even since we've been out doing the garage sales this year, our sourcing at garage sales this year is vastly different from what we did last year. Last year, I picked up pieces that were maybe only $1 or $2, regardless of the brand. And some of those pieces are still sitting there. Just because it's only $1 or $2 doesn't mean you should pick it up. We've talked about that. I have been very particular with what I've picked up this year. Some items have already sold. Some items I'm just now getting listed. But I am definitely focusing more with clothing on mediums and the largest, extra larges and up. Even men's mediums do sell. Men are looking for mediums. Small men's don't sell for me either. Men's larges, mediums, and plus size definitely do better. And I am looking more at fabric content. I do still list things that are polyester. Because honestly, in men's pieces, unless it's wool, there's not a lot of linen out there. Silk, yes, like in Tommy Bahama, you find men's silk pieces, their shirts and stuff. But you don't typically find linen in men's pieces that I've seen. If I'm wrong about that and you have found men's pieces in linen fabric, let me know. But it's mainly women's that I'm finding linen with. Wool, you'll definitely find men's wool pieces. But I'm definitely being more and more particular about my sourcing. I thought about picking up a Aritzia box through Helpsy Source, but I've told you all how I'm really particular about doing my research before I buy the box. I reached out to a gal that I know on YouTube that sells Aritzia really well. She's a Canadian seller. She sells Aritzia very well for very good prices, especially on Poshmark. So I went on Poshmark just kind of check out Aritzia, the different types of brands and things, different types of pieces. And some Aritzia does sell really well for like over $50, even over $35. But then other pieces were only selling for maybe $20 or $22. So I reached out to her and I asked her, I have an opportunity to buy a box of Aritzia women's pieces. Do you think this cog is a good cog? She answered me back. She said, in some pieces, absolutely, that's a great cog. Because for her, where she sources from in her thrift stores up in Canada, sometimes she's paying $13, $15, or $18 on a piece of Aritzia that she turns around and flips for $80 or $100 or maybe $50, so she doubles or triples her money. However, she did answer me back again because I told her that I'm trying to be mindful with what I pick up, because if it's a top that's only sell for $22 and my cog is $14, or even on sale like $13 or $11, that's still a pretty high cog for like a top. So she answered me back that she did think that a reseller box in Aritzia would be high risk. And after doing more research with her first answer, I researched. I was hemming and hawing, thinking maybe I should take a chance. Now keep in mind, even on sale at $11 a piece, this box would have cost, there was 40 pieces in it. That was a pretty high amount for a box, even at $11 a piece. If some of those pieces were only a sell for like maybe their cog, and then that's about it, not making any extra money. So before she answered me back, I honestly decided to just bail on the whole idea, because I didn't feel there might be enough pieces or enough chance of good enough pieces to even double my money on the cost of the box. Well, so when she answered me back and I told her, she said, I do think it's too high of a risk for a reseller box like that. I answered her back. I said, I actually came to the same conclusion. She was actually really happy to hear that. So with the Aritzia, if I'm able to source it through somebody else at a lower cog, like say $5 or $6 a piece, that can sell for like maybe 15 or 20, that I will jump on. But when it's over $10 a piece, no, I think that's still way too high of a cog. So not on sale at $14 a piece. So I'm being a lot more particular with what I pick up, where I pick it up. And I'm pretty sure you guys are doing the same thing, especially now that there's a lot of transitioning in the reseller community between companies that sell items that we buy, the thrift store pricing, and also just the economy, what people are looking for. People are looking for really good deals and not really high deals. Speaking of which, that kind of brings up another topic. Do you think that people who have money, it's affecting them as much as people who don't have a lot of money with the economy? Some people are steering towards the nice higher end items because they feel that if those sell, they'll do better because they could sell them at a higher price, versus having the smaller cog pieces, like things that are selling for around $25. And so some people are only focusing their store right now on the higher end pieces, and they're hoping that those will sell. I think we should have a mix. I know I do. I do a mix of the lower end pieces and a mix of the higher end pieces, because I do feel you should have a niche for both. because I do think that you do still make sales on the lower end pieces, especially if your COG is good. Again, the COG is a factor, isn't it? Keeping your COG low enough, like we've talked about, if you're selling a $25 piece, that maybe sells for between like 18 and 20. If your COG is no more than $5 or $6, maybe $7, you're still doubling your money on that item. Okay. So I do think that having the bread and butter piece is important, and then having a mix of the higher end pieces also. Tell me if you do that too, or if you just focus on mall brands, or do you focus just on higher end pieces? Okay, so this video is already 35 minutes. I don't want to take up too much of y'all's time. I am going to do a video on how to look up and research on eBay items that source in your area. I am going to do that video. I am going to do the video on Anthropologie brands and Revolve brands. And I'm also going to do a video on shipping through eBay. Whether I think that you should charge shipping or not. Somebody asked me to do a video on shipping through eBay. I'm going to do whether I think you should charge shipping or not. And I'm also including in that video how I do my shipping. So if you're interested in that, give me a thumbs up down below on shipping for eBay. So I've got quite a few videos coming down the pike. If you are not yet subscribed and those types of videos are of interest to you, on top of what's sold that's coming around the corner here very soon, unboxings that we do, and this weekly reseller chat, all those types of content, please do feel free to subscribe to my channel. I do have some great ideas for things coming down the pike. Also, if this video was a blessing to you, there wasn't a lot of facts in this video, but sometimes I do think that just kind of getting things out off of our chest, talking about frustrations, the changes, and all different kinds of things that we're probably all dealing with right now. So if this was a blessing to you, please do give this video a thumbs up. Please take a moment. It is completely free to subscribe, and click the notification bell button so that you are notified when all videos come out. It is free to do that. I'm really excited to get up to 400 subscribers and then 500. I'm excited to get up to 1,000 followers, because once I do that, I have more option availability on my YouTube channel to be able to do some other great things. I'm trying to make these videos more fun for you. I'm going to do my what sold video a little bit different for you this time. I think it will be more interacting and engaging for you guys. So thank you so much for being here, you guys. And until the next time, have a great day, guys. We'll see you later.